give you guys some tips, things that you can use to get past it, and really, most importantly, make this a lifestyle change, because that's really what we want it to be. We don't want it to be like, hey, this happens one time, I do this, I win the competition, which is great. We want to win the competition, and that's why we make it a competition, so you're pushing yourself even harder. But this could be some type of a lifestyle change for you in your life, which it has been for him. So, without any more introduction, I'm going to introduce Robby to come up here. We first met each other. He was quite bigger than this. We were a lot younger and stupider. But we're freshmen in college and went to Southeastern, and he was rooming with a friend of mine from home. And I met this guy, and we've been friends ever since. And he was a lot bigger, and he's got a big story to tell you. So I'm gonna turn it over to him.
All right, guys. I really appreciate being here tonight. When Jason first asked me to come over, I, without hesitation, of course, said absolutely. This is one of my passions, is telling my story and trying to help other people. A little background on myself. I grew up, and I have no problem saying this, I grew up the fat kid. Ever since I was a little kid, I was always overweight. I was of course a glutton with food. I would eat, and literally, it wasn't a term back then, but I was obese my entire life. For me, I'm able to look back now and understand why, but I didn't know at the time. Growing up, I was in a kind of a high pressure household. My dad was a collegiate athlete at Southern Miss, where we all went. My mom's actually in the basketball Hall of Fame at Tulane, so she was a phenomenal athlete. Then I had to watch my older brother excel at absolutely every sport he played in. So we traveled around the country with him playing golf, football, all these different sports. And then here was me, a little fat kid following along. I was not athletic at the time. So my parents were great, loving, supportive, everything that I did, they were great. But I would hear these stories about them. I would see my older brother accomplishing things. And I just felt this need to perform. I felt this need to rise to that level, but I never could. I just had this emptiness inside of me that I was trying to fill, and I filled it with food. That started my path to emotional eating. I filled the voids in my life with food. And of course at the time, I didn't know I was doing that, but now I'm able to look back and see that I was doing that. I continued that path even when I was in high school. When I look back at my high school career, I put on 20 pounds every year I was in high school. Graduated my senior year at 285 pounds. I was doing that because both of my parents played college sports. My older brother was playing college quarterback. I wanted to play college football too. And since I was overweight my entire life, hey, let's just continue that. Let's just try to become absolutely as big as possible so we can play college football. And I say this, and some things I'm going to say later out of complete humility because you'll understand why. But when I graduated high school, I was the number 2 ranked center in the country, an All-American, and I had a lot of success on the field. And I chose to play at Southern Miss because that's where my dad went and that's where my older brother went. Could have gone other places, but that's where I felt at home. So I get up to Southern, 6'2", about I think I was 275 when I reported. And of course, I was a little guy on the team for my position. I was playing against guys who were 320 pounds, 6'5", and once again, I was like, okay, got to gain some more weight. The problem with the way I was gaining weight was, as most of you know, when are we ever taught proper nutrition? Unless you come to something like this, no, ever. And the only thing I knew about gaining weight was eat as much as you can of whatever you can. I mean, these guys remember, I was eating probably 10 to 12,000 calories a day. Yeah, and that was just to maintain my weight. I was very fortunate at the time, and the guys remember, my brother was dating one of the Muellers who own all the Domino's franchises. So I would just call her up, get like 2 large pizzas, and just eat them all. And that was dinner. Go to Subway, get 2 footlongs, and that's one meal. So just any way I could, I was trying to gain as much weight as I could. I would wake up every morning and drink a 2,500 calorie protein shake just to start my day. That's about how many calories I've taken in a total day right now. And I was doing that for breakfast, and then eat another 4 or 5 meals throughout the day. And I tell people that, and they always say, "Oh man, it must have been great to eat whatever you want, whenever you want, as much of it as you want." No, it's miserable. Have you ever been to a buffet, and when you walk out the door, you want to do nothing but go home and get in a food coma?
Yes.
Yes, I know I have. Okay, imagine doing that 4 or 5 times a day and still trying to play college football. All I want to do is sleep all the time. It's that lethargy that I don't understand why. I'm like, I'm playing college football. Why am I so tired all the time? I'm out of practice, performing at a high level, yawning. And it's because of the way I was having to eat and because of the things I was eating. I was definitely not eating healthy foods. I mean, you're not supposed to eat Totino's pizzas and go practice college football. It's just not the way this works, but I didn't know any better because no one ever educated me. Our team nutritionist, y'all remember, weighed 330 pounds. She was not the example we needed. But through all that, and my parents they taught me how to work hard. They taught me how to, really give it your all. So through my college career, I was a 4-year letter winner. My senior year, I was a finalist for the best player in the country in my position. I made Mark May's All-American team. So I once again achieved success on the football field just through sheer hard work. But at the same time, I was miserable. Absolutely miserable. I would hardly ever smile. I would hardly ever have a good time because my senior year alone, I had 4 knee surgeries. I had 2 in the spring. I had 1 in the spring, 1 in the fall, 12 days before we played Florida, and I had 2, 3 days after my last game. So my body, because of the lack of nutrition, because of just the abuse, was breaking down. And couple my body breaking down with mentally breaking down from being tired all the time, from having to eat that way, and from being just miserable. It was not truly who I was. I was having to live this fake life in order to play college football. So I was miserable. When I had double knee surgery after my last game, we played in the Mobile Bowl. I think 3 days later, I had double knee surgery. I was sitting in recovery, and I was like, something's got to change. Okay, you're done playing football. Obviously, there's no chance of playing pro football because of all of your rather extensive knee injuries and shoulder, back, and everything else you went through. So this is the first time in your life where you're in control. You have the power to choose where you want this next chapter of your life to go. So I was just sick and tired of being that way. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I said, okay, first things first, we're going to lose this weight. We've got to get this weight off. I was struggling to maintain my weight. So I'm like, okay, let's get this off. Within the course of a calendar year, I managed to lose right at 100 pounds, which it's a big number to a lot of people. But when you think about it, I'm sure Jason's probably said this, healthy, sustainable weight loss is between 1.5 to 2 pounds a week. That's healthy. How many weeks in a year? 52. That's over 100 pounds. So I just stayed committed to a year, and I hit that goal. How did I do it? I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew if I ate less and worked out, I'd lose weight. That's the only thing I knew about it because I still didn't have an education in nutrition and how to work out right. I just knew what I was trying to do in football. What that did for me, though, was it sparked a real interest in health, nutrition, and how to actually live a healthy lifestyle because I had no clue. So from there, I started educating myself. I started just watching videos, reading magazines, just anywhere I could gather information from. That's what I started doing. And from there, over the next probably 10 years, I fluctuated. I would have these battles where life would knock me down and I'd gain weight because I emotionally eat. And then I would get back up and have to get it back off again. I'd have probably 40-pound weight swings every once in a while. And it was nothing more than being stressed. So for me, yeah, I knew what I should be doing. I'm a certified nutritionist. I was a personal trainer at one point. I knew what I should be doing, but why do I keep going through this roller coaster? Why do I keep having all these setbacks? I know I need to be healthy. I know what to eat, how to work out. But why do I keep going through this? The problem was I never addressed the most important issue, which was this. I never actually said, okay, you're emotional eating. This is what triggers that. This is how you stop that. Because honestly, it's a lot easier to come in here and work out than it is to fix that. It's a lot easier to follow a strict diet than it is to actually fix what's going on here. This was the hardest thing I ever had to do. So for me, it took a lot of self-exploration, self-awareness. It took me really diving in to what's inside of me to understand this and realize what was going on. And from that actually is what started me writing my book. I wrote a best-selling health book called The Struggle is Real. It is about the mental side of health transformation. And we talk about how to lose weight and all that, but it has zero diet advice, zero workout advice, because I now know that if you want something bad enough, you'll find a way to do it. We are in information overload right now as a society. If you want to know something, you're freaking 30 seconds away from a Google search to finding it out. So the information's out there. There's a new diet book printed every week. There's a new workout every week. There's all these different ways for you to accomplish your goal. But if that is in such high supply, why is nobody doing it? I go around talking to people all the time, and 95% of the people I talk to, they know what they should be eating. They know they should be exercising more, but there's always a reason why they're not. Okay, any big goal you want to accomplish in life and you're not getting that goal, there's always that missing factor. And a lot of it is the mental side of it. It's really wanting it bad enough to accomplish it. So from I did probably about 120, 130 interviews for my book, just trying to get down to the psychology of people, like why do you accomplish things? Why don't you accomplish things? So from doing that, from studying psychology, philosophy, I came down to pretty much one thing that I'm going to give you tonight. And it's a challenge. I challenge you to go home and do this. You have to discover your why. And what I mean your why is there's a reason every single person in this room is sitting in here tonight. There's a reason you're listening to me bore you to death. There's a reason you go through these hard workouts. What's that reason? And I cannot stand when I ask somebody that question and they say, oh, I just want to lose this, or I just want to get rid of this. No, that's not the reason. Let's be honest. Give you an example of how deep it has to go. I had a guy come up to me about a year ago. He said, Robby, I need to lose some weight. Great. Why do you need to lose weight? So I need to be healthy. Great. Why do you need to be healthy? So I kept asking him. I kept kind of digging to the real reason. I knew it was in there. I just had to pull it out of him. So after me asking him about 5 or 6 times, here's what his answer. He said, at the rate I'm going, I will not be around long enough to walk my daughter down the aisle. And he said it with a tear in his eye. And I said, that's a deep emotional stir inside of you. Like, that's a deep fear. That's your why, though. That's why this should be important to you. If you can write that down in your bathroom mirror, your refrigerator, your car, your office desk, if you can write it down in all those places to remind yourself of that, how in the world can you miss that workout? Because if you miss that workout, you're basically saying that not walking my daughter down the aisle isn't important enough to me. Or if your friends ask you to go to the buffet, you're basically saying that buffet is more important than walking my daughter down the aisle. Because that's your reason. That's why you want to be healthy. So I challenge you to do that for yourself. Go home and discover that why. Because I can get up here and I can give this great rah-rah speech, but that's going to last about until the time you walk out the door. Then life's going to slap you in the face and you're going to go back to living in a very reactionary world. You're not living in that conscious world like I talk about all the time. So you have to discover this for yourself. External motivation is great. I surround myself with people, things, videos all the time that provide me external motivation. But unless that's sparking the internal motivation, it's going to do you no good. So go home, and it's not going to happen overnight, I promise you. If it happens overnight, it's not real and authentic. Go home and discover your why. Why do I want to be healthy? Why do I want to make this transformation? Why am I putting myself through all this hard work? And ask yourself over and over again, why? Unless it causes a deep emotional response out of you, it's not important enough. You haven't got to that real reason. You know, my high school quarterback, I'm 32 years old. My high school quarterback dropped dead last year of a heart attack. Overweight, stressed out, living an unhealthy life. I mean, that to me was just another wake-up call of why I need to be doing more stuff like this. Why I started my nonprofit before I ever started making money in my business. Because it's an important issue. And one thing about living a healthy lifestyle is it's contagious and people see it. And the problem in America is doing nothing but growing right now. As hard as we're working, and as hard as y'all are in here working, for everybody that's getting healthy, there's another 3 people that are getting overweight. So we have to be that light in our community. We have to be that light in our family. That's one of the biggest things I hear is when I'm working with one of my clients, it's, well, I'm doing this, but my husband or my wife is not supportive of me. I can't get my kids on board. I can't get, I'm surrounded at work with all these people that are unhealthy and they don't want to do this with me. Well, that's great. The greatest salesman who ever lived taught us that if you just love on people and show them the right light, they'll follow. And that's what we have to do. So I challenge you to do that too. Not just doing this for yourself, but doing this for those around you, because we need that influence out in the world. We need to create a healthier tomorrow because it's doing nothing but getting worse. So find your why and then go be the light to other people. One thing I always love doing, and please don't be shy, is I love Q&A session. So feel free to ask me questions. Like I said, best-selling author, nutrition expert. I'm actually a personal chef. I've worked with some really high-end clients. I actually went on tour with 3 Doors Down this year. And personal training, all that fun stuff. So I'm here. I'm more than happy to take any questions you have. But that's what I want to talk about tonight. I don't want to keep you too long. I can talk forever if you'll let me. So now I open the floor to you if you have any questions. Don't be shy. What you got?
What's your favorite post-workout meal?
My favorite post-workout meal, honestly, is just a shake, because most of the time I'm not real hungry until about an hour and a half, 2 hours later. In my shake, depending on where I'm at and what I'm trying to accomplish, it's always going to have probably 50 grams of protein, glutamine, leucine, and creatine. And then depending if I'm trying to lose or gain, it's going to have some sort of fast-acting carb in it. I think a lot of people use dextrose for that, but you could also eat a whole meal. Just make sure the whole meal has some type of like white rice or some fast-acting carb. Like a lot of people like gummy bears and stuff like that. Works too. But that's if you're trying to gain muscle. Preface that.
Give us a couple of good meals, quick, easy meals that you like to go-to meals like dinners, lunch.
One of the meals that I make all the time, one of my favorite things to do is making what's called zoodles, zucchini noodles, where basically you buy like a little $4 or $5 noodle machine from Walmart. You stick a zucchini in there, you spin it out. It makes basically what you can use as pasta. And then you can cook some chicken or ground meat, a low sugar marinara, and it's like a 10 or 15 minute meal. I tell a lot of my clients, one of the best things to do is make sure you always have some source of lean protein cooked. Because a lot of times that's what takes the longest to cook. You can always have some steamed boiled vegetables or like the zucchini noodles, stuff like that takes 2 or 3 minutes to make, and you can toss in like an olive oil, garlic, something like that, so it's really healthy. But the protein is the one that takes the longest. So as long as you have some source of lean protein cooked in your refrigerator at all times, then the dinner, the lunch, all that's not going to take you as long. So that's definitely one recommendation I make for all my clients is have some sort of lean protein cooked at all times. Spaghetti squash is one of my favorites because you can literally put that in the oven and forget about it. But other than that, it's really, when I tell people, like when I design diets for people, when I work on their nutrition plans, the best way I explain it to them is, it's called the toothpaste example. If you go to your dentist and you ask your dentist, what toothpaste should I use? If he's a good dentist that actually cares about what he's doing, he should give you an answer along the lines of, use the one you're going to use the most. When it comes to a certain style of eating, a certain diet, just whatever it may be, because there's 9 million ways to eat out there, use the one you're going to use the most. So whatever style of eating that is that's healthy, stick to that. The one you can actually stick to. The one you can make a lifestyle out of. If you go on this crazy diet that, yeah, works, but you know that you cannot do it forever, then you probably shouldn't be doing that. Like we talked about, it's a lifestyle. It's creating an environment